All right, Week 15, Thursday night football. Easily one of the worst losses I've watched all year. Now, I watched my Buffalo Bills get trampled by the Miami Dolphins, so nothing's topping that for me. But tonight, up multiple scores, the Bucs let Kirk Cousins look like prime Brady, march them down the field, convert a 3rd and 28, a 4th and 14 for a game-winning field goal. All while the Falcons were the most penalized team in a single game since 2019. They had damn near 20 penalties tonight, made almost every mistake you could think of. They still won the game in Tampa Bay, and I gotta imagine all Bucs fans across the world tonight are chanting "Fire Todd Bowles," and I don't even blame them. After losing to the Saints last week, you follow that up at home with a big divisional loss to the Falcons. Now, that really doesn't matter for the Falcons, but now you're opening the door for a potential home playoff game for Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Are you surprised? If you listen to the show in the offseason, you wouldn't be. I told you the Panthers might be a lot better than people expected, and now they are. Bucs see them, I think, 2 times in 3 weeks to end the season. That's going to be something to keep an eye on, but we're focused on tonight. The big blunder by the Bucs as they lose 28-29. The Falcons take it on Thursday night football. Leave it up to Raheem Morris and the Falcons to play their most entertaining football and win a big game when they've been eliminated from the playoff picture. Welcome back. It's JV back on the JV show for another Thursday night football recap. If you love the show, if you love the content, please do me a favor. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. It means the world. I would like to shout out my sponsor for the season, Big Third Down Shop. So the link is in my bio to buy their hats. They sent me a bunch of cool NFL branded hats. You'll see them trickled throughout my episodes every once in a while, including this JV show one. So they're all like this, embroidered. They fit great. They look great. Go get yourself a hat of the team you support and rock it for Christmas. It's never too late. Link is in my bio to shop. Let's get down to business. Ladies, gents, Falcons 29, Bucs 28. Like I said, just an embarrassing loss on the Bucs' behalf. I mean, you're now sitting at 7-7. And let me tell you something. We can all agree the Bucs have the most talented skill players in the league. Collectively, Ibuka, Evans, Godwin, McMillan looked great tonight. Then the backfield, you got Sean Tucker, Bucky Irving, Rashad White. I mean, you got players on players on players that could start on any roster in the NFL. Uber talented. The problem this year is you haven't had the consistency in the lineup. The injuries have hurt you for sure. And when you got guys in and out, it's hard to ultimately build that chemistry. Now, a guy like Evans comes back tonight, and you see he just immediately dominates for you, which is awesome. I mean, that's what a Hall of Fame guy does. But over time, it's tough to build the chemistry. When you got young guys coming in, going out, Ibuka obviously new in the offense, McMillan, been around for a little bit, but not too long. And then obviously the backfield, I mean, you've had Bucky in and out. It's tough to build that foundation on the offense, and that's been a reason, a contributor as to why they haven't been so consistent. They started off the year so hot. Baker looked like a damn MVP candidate through the first 5 to 6 weeks. But now it's all falling apart, and you wonder why. Well, tonight, I think it painted a pretty good picture as to why the Bucs just won't do that much damage this year. And I started the season saying, hey, this team might be a dark horse team to win a Super Bowl. I truthfully believe that. I think offensively they have the talent, but right now, the clear issue tonight, well, it was the defense. The secondary stunk tonight. Kyle Pitts looked damn near like a top 5 tight end tonight. Can you believe that? You absolutely should. Because I said it last week on the podcast, I'm excited to talk about Kyle Pitts. But real quick, to bounce back here to the Bucs, the secondary is clearly a liability. They're not going anywhere with this defense. I mean, Kirk Cousins had a field day. Let's search up his stats here real quick. 28 of 41, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, only took 1 sack, 120 passer rating. Jeez Louise, man. How do you allow that to happen? And Baker, too, tonight, I mean, he throws with so much confidence, and he throws with so much heat on the rock. I mean, it just flings off the wrist. but sometimes it's just a little bit too much. And I thought tonight, even with a clean pocket sometimes, he was doing a little bit too much, way too hesitant to throw it away, holding on to the ball, trying to make something happen. And listen, that is the nature of his game, is extend plays as far as possible, even if it means costing my team a sack or two. And tonight it felt like, especially in the first half, that's all he was doing. Sack after sack after sack. They were pinned back and back and back. And then the interception later on in the game, that really hurt as well. Now listen, that was a phenomenal play by Alford. Real incredible athletic interception, selling a different coverage, making a move backwards, hops up in the air. Awesome pick. That leads to a score. Darnell Mooney almost fumbled the ball away. I mean, that would have been wild. But that really started the domino effect of like, all right, we gave the Falcons an opportunity. We let the door open just a little bit, and the Falcons took it all. And that's how they won the game, ultimately. You got to be clean closing out games. And I was kind of going through the Bucs media as the game was going on, hearing what people had to say, taking in some input from fans, as I always do. I like to incorporate that into my episodes. And a lot of people were on the same page about the Bucs, saying, like, this is the same team they were all year long. There hasn't been some drastic change in the way that they've played, but Baker started off the season with so many game-winning drives. I mean, that's what he was built on. He was doing it game after game, if you remember, and that's really why he was at the top of that MVP race, because he was winning games, and because he was winning games in that fashion where he took the team on his back with a 2-minute drill and just delivered and delivered and delivered to start the season. It's not like that anymore. It's not. And tonight, we can't have any excuses. I mean, the offensive line, obviously, you can talk about the protection, but weapons-wise, you had everybody. And now at 7-7, I would be concerned if I'm Tampa, because the Panthers have looked pretty solid, especially this back half of the season. They've looked really good. Bryce Young, I feel like personally, has hit his stride. He's looked so much better year after year after year in the league. Tet McMillan's been a huge pickup for them. The defense has been a lot better than people expected. And the protection in the run game, which is what that offense is rooted on, has just been going at it week after week. Rico and Chuba, that duo has been phenomenal for them this year. So now you play them twice to end the season, and that's pretty much going to determine your playoff hopes. That's what it's going to be. At best, you win out, but I don't know with how this Bucs team looks. I don't know with how they have played these last 5 to 6 weeks if they can compete with the Panthers and win this division. I don't know. But to me, it's very clear the Bucs are sitting in that low B range, C range of teams where it's like, hey, you make the playoffs right now, but not much is going to happen, unfortunately. And I thought they had the talent going into the season. I still think they do. But clearly they are well behind the 8 ball. I mean, I can't even see them competing with the Packers, with the Rams right now. The only guy tonight that I thought really just had a stupendous evening for the Bucs was Mike Evans. Mike Evans is one of the greatest to ever do it. 11 straight seasons of 1,000 receiving yards. But we've all heard the fancy stat. How about the performance tonight, coming off a broken collarbone, to go for, let's pull up the stats here, get this correct, to go for 6 receptions, 130 yards, 12 targets. He was an animal. He head-topped Kobe Bryant downfield. He looked like he was 25 years old. He's always been one of the most consistent receivers, a phenomenal deep ball threat, a red zone guy. Didn't get there tonight. They targeted him on the goal line, which I loved. But it goes to show you how great he is. At age, what do you think he is right now? 33 maybe? 32, 33? To be producing like that, he would have had another 1,000-yard receiving season this year. You can absolutely believe that. With nights like this, I mean, he's going to end his career and walk himself first ballot right into the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't, it'll be a disgrace to his career. Give him the gold jacket with the Super Bowl too. And I know that's a team award, but I feel like it kind of amplifies your argument, especially as a skill player. You're like, hey, look what I got. I had the stats. I had the consistency. I also got the ring for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike wants to play another few years here. And I don't know how he feels about that. Like I said, he's already got the championship. I don't know where he's at in life, how he's feeling about playing more football. But I think the Bucs are going to need to make a conscious effort here to fix the weaknesses that they got if they want to keep Mike Evans around. And I think Mike wants to be a Buc for life. I mean, he's played there for 12 seasons now. But if you want to keep a vet like that happy, who clearly cares about the team and its success, you got to make the changes that are necessary to get back to Super Bowl form. Because I think Baker can be the guy. I think he's a great quarterback. I think the way he has cleaned up his career after kind of being a little journeyman of a quarterback, which wasn't necessarily his fault, I think he can do it. Godwin, obviously, you just gave him some money. You got him a new contract. Ibuka looks great. McMillan, like I said, the backfield. I think you got most of the pieces if you want to clean up the offensive line. Invest in the defense. Find your guys there. Get some young guys in there that can ball, that can immediately step in. I mean, we saw the Eagles a few years ago go get Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. That secondary has been set now for the next decade if they can lock them down. It's like, get a guy like that in there, and you're back to full form, and you're looking good. That's where the weakness has been. That's where it was last year. The secondary, the defense was not good, and that's where it seems like it is this year. And unfortunately, I don't see them going far in the playoffs, if they even make it at this point. As for the Falcons, I mean, like I kicked off the episode saying, leave it up to Raheem Morris and Atlanta to play a game like this, come up clutch when it doesn't matter. You know, when they've been eliminated from the playoffs. One thing I'll say tonight, let's hear your apology for Kyle Pitts. I want all the receipts. We're keeping them all. I said last week he's still a great tight end in the league. He just hasn't been used properly. If you put him out wide, if you put him in one-on-one man coverage, he will route DBs up night and day. And tonight, you look at his stat line, my goodness, 11 receptions, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns on 12 targets against the Bucs. He's still one of the best route-running tight ends in the league, a great separator, big playability. If they use him properly, which they haven't, a lot of concerns about the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, he can be a serious weapon. That's his biggest game since his rookie season, and I refuse to believe a top 10 draft pick like Kyle Pitts just falls off the map after an impressive rookie year. I know there's this ongoing fantasy joke about drafting Kyle Pitts every single year and him never living up to the hype, because it's happened year after year after year. But realistically, he is still an absolute weapon. And whether it's Atlanta or somewhere else, whoever's going to use him properly will reap the reward. He's phenomenal. I'm telling you, they need to use him more. He needs to be a focal point of this offense. And tonight was Exhibit A of that. When you give him the ball, he'll do phenomenal things. How about the touchdown? When his ass and elbow hit at the same time? I don't know. I was a little bit, was it a TD? Was it not? I mean, obviously they called it TD. Hard to overturn that. When I was watching the broadcast, it kind of seemed like a push-off. I went back. I didn't really get a good angle of it. Obviously, they didn't call it. They didn't give a clear replay of it, so maybe it wasn't. But I thought it was a great catch nonetheless. I mean, to find the end zone 3 times, and let me tell you something, fantasy managers tonight who started Kyle Pitts, I don't know how many of them are out there, because I haven't owned Kyle Pitts since his rookie year, because of the ongoing joke and because they just don't use him properly. But honestly, if they fed Kyle Pitts like 120, 130, that target range every year, he would eat. He would feast for this offense. You would be 10 times better. When you have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Darnell Mooney at full strength, the Falcons are a quarterback and a head coach away from being great because you got the talent. You got the star tight end. You got the star receiver. You got Bijan, who is an absolute beast. The defense has been all right. Like, they've been good. And the one guy tonight, I mean, D. Alford made a phenomenal play, and I think he's been great. But the one guy tonight that stood out to me was James Pierce Jr. James Pierce was absolutely worth the first-round pick. Everyone clowned Atlanta for trading up for James Pierce, but now who's laughing? He's got 8 sacks on the season. I believe it's the rookie sack record for the Falcons, and he has dominated and been an absolute force all year long. The back half of this season, if you watch the Atlanta Falcons ball out, or, I mean, not ball out because they haven't been very successful, but if you watch the Falcons play this back half of the season, you'll hear James Pierce's name called a lot during these games. Him and Jalen Walker were the 2 best picks this franchise has made in a long time. Last year, you look at their sack percentage, you look at their pressure percentage, it wasn't there. They were at the bottom of the league. They went out in the draft, and they addressed a need. And everyone clowned them. Everyone hated on them because James Pierce giving up a first-round pick for him just didn't make sense. Well, I'll tell you what. If you're getting production like that, a guy that's going to be a Pro Bowler, a guy that could easily be Defensive Rookie of the Year, who cares? You've now got your 2 edge rushers set. You're causing pressure on the quarterback every single game. Go get yourself a quarterback you feel comfortable with. And this is no disrespect to Michael Penix. Listen, he's going to be solid. You know, he can be a starter in the league for sure. But is he going to get him over the hump? I don't think so. Personally, I don't see it. I think he peaks at some point. I think his ceiling is a lot lower, like significantly lower than some of the elite quarterbacks in the league. And I don't think he'll ever get to the point athletically where he's like taking over games. Not necessarily that the Falcons need it, that they should be looking for somebody like Josh Allen, because those guys are generational, right? Like, they only come around once in the blue moon. But I think Michael Penix, his skill set, like, it's not common, I would say. Like, you still got to search for somebody that can sling the rock like him. He's really good from the pocket, but it's not anything to be wowed about. That's what I would say. So like I said, with a new head coach, I hope this W doesn't keep Raheem Morris around too much longer. New head coach, new coaching staff, and a quarterback. Falcons could be really good. Like, they had the talent this year. Just so many self-inflicted errors game after game, and you're just pulling your hair out. Coaching decisions, turnovers tonight. I mean, penalties, you name it. And they still came out with the W. Impressive for them. I heard Al Michaels on the broadcast say you got to give Raheem Morris credit. It's like, sure, but they've been eliminated from the playoffs. You know, like, give him credit when he wins games when it matters. So, new head coach, new quarterback, I think they can be looking at something cool, something promising in the future. I want to do 2 segments tonight, one on Joe Burrow, one on Phillip Rivers, and the old versus new generation of quarterbacks. First of all, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, a lot of people think he was hinting at retirement in one of the recent press conferences he did with the media. With what he said, and I'll kind of summarize it, he just said, like, he wants to be having fun playing football, and there's a lot going on. I don't know what's going on in his personal life, but clearly on the field, there's a little bit of disappointment. Do you blame him? Do you blame him? I mean, Cincinnati's just been a complete joke for years now. And I'll tell you this because I watched, obviously, Andrew Luck hang up the cleats way too early. If Cincinnati puts Joe Burrow into retirement, they should just sell the damn franchise. It would be that bad. 3 straight seasons without a playoff appearance with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. He's the biggest talent in the NFL, arguably in sports, going to waste. Give Joe Burrow Philly's offense. Oh my goodness. 50-plus touchdowns, 4,500 yards, 5 interceptions. That's his stat line. He is so good. The football gods nerfed him landing in Cincinnati. And people will say that Joe Burrow, if he wants to win so bad, he needs to take a pay cut. That shit pisses me off. People will say, Joe Burrow, if you want to win, take a pay cut. Give the organization some money to spend. That is BS. How about the front office finally puts together a good draft and evaluates some real talent for Joe Burrow and this team to succeed? Because it's not a one-man game. It's not a 3-man game. It's not Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. There's a whole lot of other starters that need to play well in order for you to actually get back to playoff and Super Bowl form. I can't believe we're having this conversation about Joe Burrow hinting at retirement, but he's been beat up. Injuries on injuries because he takes so many hits yearly because he's not protected and the defense is not good. So he's always on the damn field throwing the rock. And then people have the audacity to say his stats are inflated because he's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and they're always passing because they're behind. It's like, what do you want the guy to do? What do you want him to do? He puts up 40 points a game, and the Bengals still managed to lose. Even when Joe Flacco came in, and he was playing at a very high level, the Bengals couldn't do anything. They still lost games. And I specifically remember Flacco put up 42 points against the Bears, and I think 38 against the Jets. They lost both those games. Riddle me that. Joe Burrow's career is going to waste, and I can't stand to watch it. Shame on Cincinnati. Now for Phillip Rivers and this whole old versus new quarterback argument I want to bring to the table. Listen, the 2 things I'll say about Phillip Rivers, and I said this on my story on Instagram a few days ago when I heard about the Colts bringing him back in. First and foremost, this situation with Rivers should put into perspective for everybody, including myself. Like, this gave me a lot of insight, maybe that I just hadn't realized. Like, obviously I knew this, but I didn't realize it at this deep of a level. Like, for Rivers to come back at age 44, when he's been out of the league for 5 years, half a decade, he hasn't played football, and the team is still interested in him, like they're calling him to come back, that just shows how much pure knowledge, understanding, the value a guy like that can bring to a team. Like, he hasn't thrown the rock in 5 years. I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but to me, it looked like he packed on a few pounds. I don't blame him. Had a phenomenal career. Go eat some M&Ms, chill on your couch with your freaking 15 kids. All good. Enjoy yourself. But it's like, all right, maybe he's not in the best shape. He's 44 years old, but you want him back. That's all this right here. That's the mind. That's the knowledge. That's the understanding of the game. And then you start to process and realize how much time and dedication these guys put into the game. to come back into an offense that maybe you're slightly familiar with, but you'd think maybe he's a little bit rusty. I bet you by day 5, he's back in the swing of things. He looks great, all things considered, with his age, with his arm, with his mobility. The other thing I realized, and this was really the key takeaway, Rivers is 44. Now, let's talk about Caleb Williams real quick, for example. I don't imagine Caleb Williams, let's say he has a great career, that a team would be interested in bringing him back at age 44. That's not a knock on Caleb Williams. I would say the same thing about Jaden Daniels. I would say the same thing about Jalen Hurts, about Lamar. Here's why. Quarterback longevity is fading in the NFL. The 2010s decade of quarterbacks, Rivers, Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, they were bigger dudes, a little bit more weight, and they all had A to A plus NFL arms. The mobility was lacking, but they could sit in the pocket, dissect the defense, and throw consistently for 4,500 yards every single year. Drew Brees, a little bit smaller, still one of the best arms the NFL has ever seen. Aaron Rodgers, who's still slicing up defenses today, one of the most talented arms the league has witnessed. All in that 2010s decade. Their quarterback longevity was phenomenal. They could last to age 38, age 40, age 42, age 45, some of them. Because the arm is usually the last thing that goes. And you can still be on a playoff team, hell, even a Super Bowl contending team when you're at that age if you have the protection. Nowadays, in today's game, guys like Jalen Hurts, Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, their games are built off their ability to maneuver the pocket, scramble, and their athleticism. They rely heavily on their athleticism. That's not a bad thing, but when you get to age 34, 35, you'll turn into Russell Wilson if the arm isn't at the level that it needs to be, and you'll become useless. Now, Russell Wilson, he's won a Super Bowl, arguably a Hall of Famer. That's by no means a bad career. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that quarterback longevity is not going to be the same as it was just a decade ago. And watching Rivers come back, and I know he has this like funky sidearm release of a throw, but like, it's a true testament to the fact that his arm is that valuable even at that age. You know, Brady at 45 was slinging the rock for 4,000 plus yards in Tampa Bay. He's the greatest to ever do it. He had a great team around him. I'm not denying that. But would quarterbacks nowadays who pride themselves on the athleticism and the athlete portion of the game, would they be able to do that? Maybe a few of them, but like not many. Why has Matthew Stafford had so much success in the late part of his career? Because his arm is A+. At the end of the day, what's a quarterback meant to do? Throw the ball from the pocket specifically. If you can make plays outside the pocket like Caleb Williams, that's a bonus. But that won't always last. You know, you'll show flashes of that. You'll be able to do that when you're younger, but as the age gets up there, that ability will deteriorate. And then you're left with your arm and whatever you can do with it. And the second these young quarterbacks hit that point, if they don't have that arm, the boot will be huge out of their organization. That's a wrap on the episode. That's half an hour of juice from me. I appreciate you rocking with me. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. It means the world. And I'll catch you Sunday for another week in the NFL with JV. appreciate it. Stay safe. Have a great sleep. Peace out.